وفاء السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته من في الجولة يلا كده هذا برنامج كم مرة عالم كورك كجران ولا باكم إذا إسرائيلية ولا باشياء تانية كتير والله توعيد يحيى سنوار يضاس سردون كان مسؤول يوجد كسر رادي هيان سنوار برنامج كسر هاينا قضاء كلام السنهاي ولا باكم ده وسير كورفافين تال لبنان سيد ماكاري يا ولا باوسين للشيء إلا وعي تلفون إسرائيلية وصلنا من شيء نشيس كبها اسمها وسكشة يحيى برنامج يحسن كود بيانا ولبا إسرائيل يود تقيمها مركزيتي كجيس داس لبنان يضو قار مركزيتي الكبيرة هي كراهية أو سير يحيى برنامجك يحسن كود بيانا قضبة كلنا برنامجك سنكاي أنه كود بيا ولبا كمدها وركا ورباهين تقبسدي شلي لا حلي ولبا نقدر نشوف تكلمنا من إسرائيل يتوقعن مركزيتي كدلة وقاميها حماس يحيى سنوار أما موقعا وورنا الشيء إن وركان موقعنا ور صحيح برنامجك يسين كاينا دونالد ترامب نولي بوس مركزيت وذجرين قابلي شيخ تميم بن محمد الثاني أمير قطر يريد وزارها شيخ محمد بن عبد الرحمن الثاني برنامجك يحسن كود ديانا تيم واليز مايوركا مركزيتي مينيسوتا نولي بوس كود جرى أورلاشي كإدن والهاي مدى ودنك أمريكانك حزب الديمقراطي ينترتمها برنامجكاس كوبيان وضبطاس يورك الأولين يسين كاينا برنامجك مرو عالمك برنامجka muro caalamka la dareertana Donald J Trump iyo waliba markaasiitus kulan la qaadaya waa kulan kuleba hay kulan isla wada jira Sheikh Tamim bin Muhammad al-Thani iyo Amirka Qatar iyo wasaaraha Sheikh Mohammed bin Abd Alrahman al-Thani kan hayn kulan caadin hayn Trump waliba uu saray markaasiiti ku dhawahay xiriirku silile Amirka Qatar waliba lena xiriir weyn antii ku gudi jiray sanadii markaasiitan ku suganay aqalka cad ولنا كسيح حق بدن هذا دونه مركان دونالد جي ترامب قرال كسيا تويتر شيخ قري برنامجك يلا درجته حالة هذا قال لبنان وجهها تمركية ويرد كل انت إسرائيل زايد مكاري وسير كورفافين تا لبنان يولي باوس شاقي إن لها كوعي تلافن إسرائيل أو لين شاقي إنه سكبهد اسمها وسكشاقيو سدي شاكتي وكالة دا ورركا لبنان NNA أون تاسي كدرتي مركزي إن داد بدن وكسوغن بيروت يو ساساتو هلان وعتان إسرائيل وكدقو إن يسك كدير دان قوبا حزب الله ساساتو سعدي هورا هرابتان وليبا مركزيت داد كدقن كونفورتا لبنان يو هو عانا تلافمن إنيق إسرائيل وشان مساففو كارغاين ميلها يو كبادنين وحبناها حزب الله يو بخارد يو هبكا برامجكا يا للدرجة إسرائيل ولي باك دبتوضا هيتا ديروكا يحيى سنوار ولنا ديداي مركزيتين أكسيو كتومان كوايان قوت قوفا تاسو كدالتي إن حاليو سيشها شعبا حالة دقدقو كجرت حارون تسردونكا إسرائيل أو لحريت سورة قلمة قيمها إسرائيل كويدا غزة ومركزيتين أديك سدايتا بمبوينكا عرس لولكا خوصن قلايان ينوس مركزيتي كوديريو دي balse hadda waliba habahay natiijada macluumaadka xaaladda sinwaar ee sirdoonka Israa'iil macluumaadka waliba faahfaahiyay markaasitii in sinwaar wili nool barnaamijka la darartan team wheels waliba waa governor Mareykanka gobolka mid ah ka isla markaasna uu ku xigeenka Mareykanka tartamay xisbiga dimuqraadiga in sharaxnya doorashada November ta socota waa ku wheels oo meel fagaare ah kala duwahay taageerayaasha oo soo sheegay rajadiis weyn ee eedan ku guuleysado ka kursiga.
The Affordable Care Act's protect us, and Kamala Harris is making sure that every single person in every single state has access to insulin and the drugs they need. I saw Senator Vance lay out the concept of the plan. Like, this has never been tried before. Well, it doesn't make sense that young and healthy people have to have insurance and pay for it because they're not sick. We should just have pools for sick people. Do they know how insurance works? You pool the risk together so that all of us can get it, so when we need it, our neighbors are there. Just be clear. I know it's a bit of preaching to the choir, and I'm going to get to the part where all the things that we run for, but it's important to know they don't have a plan for you. There is no plan for you. And I can't stress this enough. This is not a theoretical idea of what's happening here. It's very clear. You lived under it in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump wants to talk about some mythical time when he was in office, for God's sakes. You felt it here. He lost 275,000 jobs in Pennsylvania. Under Vice President Harris, 560,000 jobs have come back, including 29,000 manufacturing. People are reinvesting in this great state. You saw $500 million by Pratt Industries helping 2 facilities right here in the Lehigh Valley get started, create jobs. And I served in Congress before I was governor and Donald Trump was president. So I've served when I was in Congress when he was president, and I've served as governor. So I can tell you what failure looks like. I watched him do it. I watched him do it. Every week, and I was in Congress, he was going to give us Infrastructure Week. Infrastructure Week. Well, it never happened. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris gave us the infrastructure law. Provided millions of dollars to that airport I just landed at right out there that they're able to invest in. So look, she's laying out a plan what an opportunity economy looks like. We know how this works. Our economy works best when it's fair. We have a saying in Minnesota, we all do better when we all do better. She gets it. She gets it. When the economy is fair and it's not rigged, it not only works better for all of us, it actually works better for the guys who are trying to rig it, for God's sakes. So here's the deal. She knows what these things are, the fundamental things that people want. And we know that it's hard and the economy's there, so she's working for real solutions. Things like home ownership, making sure home ownership is affordable, making sure we're building 3 million more affordable homes, but also helping with down payment assistance and tax credits to make sure that happens. We did it in Minnesota, and we're seeing more homes, and rents actually went down 4%. Where is rent going down? It goes down when you're able to create more housing. That's what ends up happening. Also saw that many of you know it's expensive when you have children. It's expensive. Don't we know it? And for some of you who have little children, it doesn't get much less expensive as they get older. But here's the deal. Kamala Harris is going to make it less expensive. She is doing what we've seen when states do it, and we saw it during COVID pandemic. She has a child tax credit that's going to put $6,000 into the hands of parents that first year. Buy a crib. Think of, Americans aren't asking for that much. They're asking to be left alone. They're asking to be able to make a decision. They're allowing to ask for, if they can get a car seat. Passing a child tax credit, by passing a child tax credit, you reduce childhood poverty by 1/3. And you just saw it this week. If you're getting squeezed on prices on things like groceries, we're talking about taking on price gouging. Let me tell you what that looks like. The folks who grow our food, farmers, corn is about $4.10 a bushel. It takes about $5 just to break even. Farmers aren't getting rich off what's happening right now. The folks who are trying to make the products that we have aren't, but corporate profits have doubled and corporate pay has quadrupled in many cases. Now look, we're all for a fair economy. We're all for people making it, but you can't rig the economy making things more expensive for the very people who are making and growing those products. That's what she's taking on. And just this week, the Biden-Harris administration is taking on Big Pharma because they're still trying to drive up the price of insulin and overcharge because we don't have a national $35 cap on that. Kamala Harris will make it happen. Absolutely. And look, we've been able to do a lot of this in Minnesota because what happens when you elect people who care about the middle class, when you elect people who look like the people who are voting, you get policies that help those very people, whether it's on home ownership, whether it's on insulin, whether it's on a child tax credit, or one of the things that we did, and I experienced this personally. When I was growing up, my father got cancer, and I watched my mom, who's a stay-at-home mom, barely be able to stay in her home because of the medical bills that nearly destroyed her. She had to go back and work just to pay down medical bills for about a decade. Kamala Harris is putting in what we did in Minnesota, providing relief from that so they can't report you to the credit union, they can't charge you outrageous credit, and they can't bankrupt you. And for so many of you, you want to start your own business, she's going to make sure, and we saw the proposal on this, a 10 times larger tax credit and cutting red tape so you start the business and you go on your own and make the way you want to of the American dream. And look, in a place like this, and we saw it, we got an opportunity to pass something called the PRO Act and sign it into law. Now, the folks who are hollering out here are the folks who understand the purest and the most strongest, and the thing that built the middle class was the ability to collectively bargain and form a union with your neighbors. I've been told that I am, for decades, a card-carrying union member of our state's teachers union, which I was. So. The last union member on a national ticket, Ronald Reagan. I promise you I will not lose my way. I will not lose my way. You know what's interesting too? I was also told that I may, teacher, working and serving as governor, that I may be the poorest person who's ever run on a national ticket. And then the Wall Street Journal wrote a story and said, well, that doesn't tell the whole story. He has more money than you think he does. You think this is a bombshell, like a North Carolina thing or something. I don't know. Like a bombshell. I'm like, what is the bombshell? Is he hiding assets offshore? Or what? Does he have a trust fund? Oh, no. He has a defined benefit pension plan. Our wish, Vice President Harris, and my wish is that every American had a defined benefit pension plan. Because at the heart of this is about freedom to live the life you want to live with dignity, whether it's being in retirement, starting your own businesses, and to choose the life you want to live, not the government. Now, I see some of you, I see some of the older folks here can actually remember, and it's like telling the young people, there was a time when Republicans talked about freedom, they actually meant it. In the long ago time, it feels like. Because right now, when they talk about freedom, the freedom of government to be able to invade your bedroom, the freedom of government to invade your exam room, the freedom of government to invade your school libraries.
waayahay guud ahaan wali baan kaa kaafmeerana barnaamijkii Arimaha Caalamka ee Warteelka Arlaadi.